Mike Taylor Live is presented by Texas Cheer Liquor. And now, live from Oahu, Mike Taylor.
All right, it's as we record this, the 26th of May edition of that weird year we all live in, 20 and 22. From the hellscape that is Oahu, I'm Mike. Back in San Antonio at LG Studios is DJ LG and Samuel Adon Freese, a.k.a. the biggest Puma, and we are joined by a guest tonight. As teased and promised, it is the great Bill Schoening, the longtime play-by-play voice of the San Antonio Spurs, on that Spurs radio network, which you can hear in the far South Texas region on that Big Brother down the hall. 1200 WOAI, the radio voice of the Spurs, Bill Schoening, a guy that I met a long time ago, although we've not seen each other in a long time, which is regretful. It's good to see you at least on video. A guy that refuses to take summers off. You don't sit around, man. You go places, you make tunes, and you've written yet more material. So I bow before you because you're a busy guy. Most play-by-play guys probably mail it in the summer, but you don't. Why do you stay so busy?
Well, when you say summer, I do kind of mail it in as far as work is concerned. You know, going out hiking in the national parks really isn't working to me. That's just exploring God's nature, which is so unbelievable. Growing up in the inner city, Mike, the opportunity to go to national parks and see places in Wyoming and Montana, which are so foreign to me from when I was a kid. I just really kind of soak it up in the summertime. But this spring, I stayed busy because the Spurs, obviously didn't make the playoffs. So I was open in April and May. So I did a lot of college baseball. So I did some games for Texas State. I did some games for UTSA, and I really missed that because, as you know, I did the Longhorns for 12 years, baseball,
right,
and really enjoyed that. So anyway, so I try to stay busy, keeps me out of trouble, and that's how this whole book thing happened. Because when COVID hit, I had no games to call and really nothing to do, so I just sat down and started writing.
Okay, I was going to say, how long did it take? Did you? I guess you did writing a book is a process. I'm not acting like you wrote the book this summer in the last 2 weeks or last summer. You periodically wrote even during the season, I'm assuming, right, on the road or whenever you had time.
And I had no games to call. So I had in my mind, Mike, some stories that I was going to write at some point in time. I didn't think I'd write a book until after I retired, late 60s, early 70s, whenever it would be. But COVID kind of forced my hand in terms of doing something. So I just started writing. So I ended up with 101 stories. The last one is because, So, and it's chronological for the most part. And it starts out with this crazy childhood dream of a 10-year-old kid in Southwest Philly to be a play-by-play guy. So, I was very, very fortunate and blessed to know at a very young age that this was going to be my passion. This is what I wanted to do.
I was going to ask you, did you ever have any gigs? And I want to talk about the book you've got coming out, obviously, but have you, what's the craziest goofball job you had to do as a young man before you got lucky and started calling games all the time for a living?
Well, in small market radio, as you know, Mike, in small market radio, especially back in the late 70s and early 80s when I got into the business, you had to do a little bit of everything, right? So I had to do news. And I was in small market Huntsville, Texas. And what's the biggest thing in Huntsville, Texas, other than Sam Houston State? It's the prison system. So I got to cover 29 lethal injections. So it's one of the stories in the book. I was introduced at an AP convention in Odessa as the voice of death in Texas.
What? Because you put that in this book?
Of course, it's the whole story about being the voice of death, And there's another story related to that. I got to interview one-on-one Henry Lee Lucas, the serial killer.
You did?
Yeah. And because Death Row interview day was 9 a.m., and there was a guy named Charlie Brown. That was his name. He was the PR director for the TDC. And he'd tell me, hey, man, Henry Lee said he'll do an interview, but it's going to cost you $1.50. I said, well, $1.50? He goes, yeah, he wants a pack of Pall Mall cigarettes and an orange soda. So before he would do the interview with me, I had to buy him the soda and the cigarettes. So then we did the interview, and it was like a meandering 10-minute diatribe of a guy that was, where he needed to be on death row. But I sold the stories to AP for $50.
Okay.
And so therefore I made $48.50 on that deal.
Wait, so
Yeah.
how close to the death day are you talking to him? The day of?
Oh, no. He was on
Days
death
leading up.
row. He
Okay.
never did get executed. He eventually died in prison.
Oh,
I
he
think
got sick, didn't he? Okay.
yeah, he
Okay.
eventually died.
Wow.
But he was up a couple of times. Got to stay, whatever. But he didn't get executed. But anyway, he didn't have an active date at that time. But I did interview a bunch of guys on death row, some of whom did later get executed.
Okay, I thought I knew a few things about you, but I had no idea on that, man.
Yeah.
So this is not just a bunch of basketball stories, this book. It's about you.
Yeah, well, it's about paying dues, traveling, culture shock, moving to West Texas. Mike, there's a story when I moved to La Mesa, Texas. You can appreciate this.
Oh my gosh.
All right, yeah, I'm doing news, right? So I have to meet Sheriff J.D. Bartlett, and it was like he was out of Central Casting, right? Big belly, big white hat, starched shirt, big belt buckle, the whole thing, right? Spit cup. I mean, I'm telling you. So he goes, "Where'd you say you was from, boy?" As a Philadelphia, PA, he goes, "That makes you a blue-bellied Yankee." A Yankee?
Yeah.
What, a Yankee? I said, Sheriff, all due respect, you're talking about the Civil War that ended 115 years ago. It's 1980. He goes, "It didn't end. It didn't end for all of us, boy."
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So welcome to Texas.
Genius.
Okay, hold on. I gotta step in there.
Go ahead.
What years were you in La Mesa?
I was La Mesa 1980 to 1983.
Does the name Wayne Roberts mean anything to you?
Wayne Roberts is a good friend of mine. He was the basketball coach at La Mesa High when I was there.
That was my high school basketball coach. He left La Mesa to come to Glen Rose my sophomore year in high school.
Yeah, Wayne is leaving Glen Rose. He's moving to Lubbock.
Moving back to be around the family up in Lubbock, around Clay and and the rest of the family that's still in the Panhandle.
All right, since we're talking about La Mesa High School basketball for some reason, there's a story in the book
Andy
about
Ellis.
Andy Ellis. I covered Andy Ellis's older brother Johnny, who's a good catcher. He played at Tech.
And the great Doug Warren, head coach at Wimberley right now.
Man, a lot of connections. Yeah. So I didn't know we were going to talk.
He derails to West Texas often.
Oh. Well, in La Mesa, we were playing Fort Stockton, and we got there, and there's no phone line. Playing basketball, right? So, and I was with the team on the Yellow Dog school bus, 3-hour drive, 161 miles to Fort Stockton. So I get there, the phone line's not working. We can't figure out any phone line working. So I'm desperate. And I asked the custodian, is there any kind of a phone line? He goes, well, there's one in the coach's office, but you can't see the court from there. But right next door in my storage space, you can see the court. So I am not kidding you guys. I lined up a school desk in the janitor's closet, right? So I could see the court. I strung 30 feet or 40 feet of cable around from the coach's office. I alligator clipped. You ever see this? I took the phone speaker off, put the alligator clips on. Anyway, I got the game on the air. La Mesa beat Fort Stockton 72-48. It was a rout, and I did the entire game from the janitor's broom closet.
That's amazing. Yeah, I had no idea you had La Mesa connections. Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah. You know, the best part about that whole night was I made $25.
Heck yeah.
Adds up fast.
Yeah. And didn't have to buy anybody orange soda or Pall Malls. You got the
No, exactly. That's right, man.
No, Coach Roberts was more of a root beer guy. No orange soda.
Put that flyer up there, Lawrence. I want to make sure we get this right. Bill has this book. He's going to do a signing of this book.
Yeah, there you go.
Right in the heart of San Antonio, right there. It's just inside the loop on 410 on New Braunfels Avenue. The barn door.
Yeah.
How about that? What's
yeah.
The barn door.
A friend of mine, she's just friends on Facebook, but she said, "Hey man, I can take care of this for you." I said, "Okay," and she did.
Cool.
So she got me the barn door. She got me a real nice room, so air conditioned. You know, we're going to do like a happy hour type thing, 4 to 6, and I'm bringing my buddy Mike Vasquez in. And Mike, this guy can really play, and he's my guitar player. He can play better than I can, so I'm going to let him do most of the playing. I'll just do the singing, but they're my songs we're going to do. But I'll tell some stories like we're telling right now. And, it's been an amazing run, so I'm kind of blessed that I did write this book. I didn't think I'd write it this quickly because I think I still got a couple of years left, Mike. I think I haven't lost it yet,
Sure.
I haven't lost it yet. So when I see this fastball slowing down, maybe I'll slow down myself. But for right now, I'm going to try to keep going,
We were just talking about this before we went on the air, and Bill's super cool and humble guy, would never agree with me on this, but you couldn't tell that there'd been a pandemic and you had a year off. You couldn't tell that games got moved inside and you had to do games in studios and such. Unless you said it publicly, I don't think most people would ever even know you weren't at games all the time with how crazy this thing's gotten. So you should be commended, man.
Well, I appreciate that, but part of that credit too, Mike, honestly goes to the technicians, the people behind the scenes, not only on the radio side, also on the television side, the guys in the TV truck that are giving me that sound back in the arena, so I can feel like I'm at the game almost, from the natural sound. That's such an important part, an element, because I remember when the games first started in the bubble, there was no crowd noise at all. I felt like I was doing a game in a church. It was really weird. So it was good to have the crowds back eventually, and then you get a little bit more natural feel. I'm hoping that the broadcasters are back on the road next season.
It's called Stories, Sports, and Songs, Tales and Tunes by a play-by-play lifer, which you most certainly are, but also an artist, a recording artist, a singer, songwriter, author now. And so you're going to intersperse tunes with stories from this book over June 2nd. So that's a Thursday night, sounds like in my head anyway. Is that right?
Correct. That is correct.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Very good. Meet and greet Bill just inside 410 on New Braunfels at the old barn door. How about that? 4 to 6. So in 2 hours, how many songs will you be able to mix in interspersed with stories? Because I'm sure the stories are what people want to hear too. Are you gonna you got a run sheet yet?
It's funny. List? Yeah. I do actually. So Mike and I Mike knows all my songs. Like I said, he knows them better than I do. So we're gonna have like one quick rehearsal and we'll be ready to go. So we're on the same page. So but I do want to have like an hour social type thing, so people can kind of meet each other, greet each other, not just me being part of it, but it's a kind of a networking thing. Not that I'm trying to network people or anything, but I'd like to be a big social kind of hangout type deal. And the place is going to have food and wine and whatever.
What are you, 60? I'm just throwing that out. I'm guessing how old you are.
63, mein Freund. That's 63.
Okay, very good. Yeah, you got at least. Well, I mean, you could do this probably for 20 years if you wanted to. How long do you want to keep calling games and making that drive and traveling and all that kind of thing?
Mike, as long as I still have the passion for it, I want to keep going. And right now I still do. I don't know how I'm going to feel in a few years. I mean, I do have other things eventually that I want to get to. I enjoy writing. I enjoy traveling. Maybe I'll be a travel writer. I don't know. Maybe I'd like to try to be a little bit more active in marketing my songs to other artists. I've never really been active doing that. I probably have time to do that, but I got all these other things going on right now. So I've got a lot of interest, Mike. So, who knows what's going to happen, but I still love doing play-by-play. That's still the passion that fuels what makes me go. That's why I did college baseball this spring, because I love doing games. It's what I do. So
how long had it been since you called baseball, and were you rusty at all? I'm guessing no.
It's funny. Right after the pandemic, St. Ed's asked me to do a few games, for a little bit of money. Yeah, but anyway, I did a few games, and it's so funny because it's Division II, and they're playing a game against Lubbock Christian, and the PA guy right before the game says, "And today on the Lone Star Conference Digital Network, the game is being called by the legendary Bill Schoening." So I said, wow, 150 people there. I kind of, my chest kind of puffed up a little bit. And about 2 feet to my left was this lady in a lounge chair. And she leans over and she goes, "Bill who? Bill who?" I have no idea. I don't know who you're talking about. I have no idea. I never heard of him
either. Well, it's funny because I was going to ask you how many people, like you calling games at St. Ed's. Hell, there's probably people in Austin that just, "Oh, you're that guy that used to call the Longhorns and forgot you went down to San Antonio to do Spurs games." I bet that happens on occasion, right? From that little bubble you living up there.
Well, one time I was at the Saxon Pub. Mike, you know the Saxon Pub. Great little music hang on South Lamar. And I was in there one night, and this guy had a burnt orange sweatshirt on. He recognized me. He came over and he says, and he was half drunk, or maybe 3/4 drunk, maybe. But he says, "Hey, didn't you used to be Bill Schoening?"
And then he beat you up, knocked you in the floor. That's how it looked. Are you good?
I did.
Okay, we good? We got it. Have you ever had anybody like, I don't know, an Aggie or I don't know, some goofball Laker fan on the road? Have you ever felt threatened or like someone come up and say, "I can't stand you, you suck"? Well, give me a story where someone like accosted you, at least verbally.
Okay. Well, this actually happened. Carl, my son Carl, he was in Denver with me for a playoff series. He was doing stats for me, and we had an off night between games. And the Avalanche, they were playing a playoff game at the Pepsi Center which is now something else, but Ball Arena, whatever it is now. But anyway, it was the Pepsi Center back then. And we actually, it was cheap, Mike. We got, I am not kidding you, Upper Deck, Blue Line, playoff game, $60. It was crazy cheap. So anyway, we really enjoyed it. But I had my Spurs sweatshirt on, right?
Yeah.
So during the intermission, you know, and of course we're in this heated playoff series with the Nuggets. This guy starts giving me a bunch of crap, you know. I'm like, hey man, I'm here for the hockey game and I'm pulling for the Avalanche. Go Avs, you know, leave me alone. Right. But he wouldn't let up, and his buddy had to come between us, and I wasn't being, you know, aggressive at all. I was like, this guy's got a problem. So it's the Spurs inferiority complex, I think, that some Nuggets fans had back then.
There's no question about that, and that's good. I've always said let them feel that way. It can't be obviously can't be trying to start fights with you, but I love that inferiority complex. So how's it been? And I know, I mean, you do your job, but at some point it's got to get a little tough because you had such a great run and such fortune when we were so awesome, and I can say we, and now things are transitioning a bit. So how is it to be at this stage of your career and the team in rebuild mode a bit and kind of reload mode? I mean, is it harder to stay? Like you mentioned, you don't want to do this forever. You got other interests and stuff. Does the success or lack thereof of the team affect your motivation? I guess that might be a bad question, but that's the question.
No. No, that's a perfectly fair question, Mike, especially given all the success that, you know, we've seen with this team. No, I still like watching these guys play. I really do. And I think these young guys respect the game. I think that they give it their all. You know, have they been able to make the playoffs last couple of years? No, but I see some promise, and I'm always more optimistic than not. But I can kind of see the direction they're going, and they're clearly building for the future. You know, you don't draft a kid like Josh Primo, you know, with his potential at the age of 18, if you're, you know, contending at that point. Right. So clearly they're building for the future, and they're building for something good. And they're going to have some flexibility coming up in the draft, and with, you know, with their salary cap situation as well.
All right. I'm expecting you to be doing this in 10 years then. You're going to outlast everybody.
No,
Pop will be gone.
You know, I do have a streak. I'm not going to brag on the streak, Mike, but I'm past 2,000 now, 2,000 in a row without a miss. And the Spurs were real nice about, you know, complimenting me and doing a nice thing for me, a couple of nice things. But I looked up Chick Hearn, and he went 3,388. So if I stay in the game, I will catch Chick during the 38-39 season.
Well, you'll have to just be happy with being the longest running guy in the state of Texas.
There you go. I think that's probably safe right now, I would think.
Why? So you were in Philadelphia. You moved to West Texas from Philadelphia. It was that much. You didn't have a stop in Roanoke or anything like this.
Very close. Pana, Illinois.
Okay.
But I went to this broadcasting school because I did not like Temple University, and I wanted to get on the air right away, Mike. I didn't want to go through 4 years of college in a big auditorium with lecture and theory. I didn't want that crap. I wanted to get in the radio. That's what I wanted to do.
Yeah.
And going to the Academy of Broadcasting, the last month of the 6-month class was about getting a job. And I got a job right away as soon as I graduated, within a week. And it was a little station in Illinois, and I went. You know, they said, take your first job, and I went. So here's how small this town was. When I got off the bus, I flew to St. Louis. I took a bus to Springfield, took another bus from Springfield to Pana. Okay? I get off the bus in Pana, my first job in radio. Okay? Town of 6,300. Everybody that gets off the bus also goes into the laundromat. Okay? The laundromat is also the bus station.
You're probably the only guy on the bus going to Pana from Springfield.
Exactly.
Gosh.
So, yeah.
Good God, man. Well,
you know, you got to pay dues.
How long? I know you certainly did. So when did you get the Texas job? What year was that? 80 what?
The University of Texas?
Yeah. Well, you were at Sam. Tell me when you were at Sam and then when you went to Austin.
Well, you know, when I was the voice of death in Texas, I was also the voice of the Sam Houston State Bearcats.
Right.
So,
yeah.
I did the Bearcats for 6 years and worked at legendary KSAM Radio, where Dan Rather worked there as well.
Absolutely.
And Cooter Robertson, the legendary Cooter Robertson, who was the longtime voice of the Bearcats after me and before me. Yeah. He was there a long time. Anyway, so 6 years in Huntsville, and then I got a break to go to KLBJ and work for Lady Bird Johnson. And I was going to be the number 2 guy on the Longhorn Network. And Tom Dorr was the guy that hired me. He got the job at Missouri. So boom, I go in to do color for Brad Sham, like that. So I got on the Longhorn Network because the guy that hired me left right away, and so I got
Wow.
to do work with Brad and a guy named Jerry Trupiano, who I
Yeah.
got a lot of Houston roots, worked for the Red Sox, and then they gave me the play-by-play chair in '92, and my color analyst became Craig Way.
Right way.
Yep. So and
Amazing.
that was all the way to '01, and then right before the '01 football season, I got a call, and it was Andrew Ashwood, the Gorilla, with legendary program director WOAI. And like
Mhm.
the only reason he would call me, there's only one reason, and that was it. It was to talk about the Spurs
Wow.
job. So anyway, so they made me an offer I couldn't refuse, basically, and I was like, okay.
That's awesome.
Here I am 21 years later, still
Incredible.
going. So, very, very thankful to have this gig for sure.
It would be easy to say, "Oh my gosh, it took me less than no seconds to say yes to the Spurs gig," but you're an honest guy. Did you have to sleep on that a night or two? You had a good gig in Austin calling Texas games. You could have done. You should still be probably calling Texas games as you wanted to. How long did it take you to think, "Okay, I can do this. I want to do this. It's the Spurs." Yes.
There are a lot of different factors that went into my decision. And I thought, I was in my early 40s. And if I'm going to go pro from college, this would probably be the best time to do it. And the kind of package that the Spurs put together for me was so attractive because one of my passions is travel. And when they
Yep.
said you have the summer off, I was getting 2 or 3. I was getting 2 or 3 weeks. Now I'm going to have 2 or 3 or 4 months. Of course, the
Yeah.
teams were going so deep into the playoffs back then. It was 3 months. But I
Right.
mean, it's still an extended vacation, no matter how you look at it. So it gave me the opportunity to do what I wanted to do as far as off-season travel. So I've hit all 50 states. I've hit most of the provinces up north in Canada. I still have to hit a
Wow.
couple of the Atlantic provinces. But anyway, I've been able to travel quite a bit, and 25 national parks. I told you that's one of our deals. We like to go hiking in the summertime. So
Amazing.
it's keeping me young. Mike. I'm trying to stay active. I can still
Well.
lose a couple of pounds. I still got some of this Philly weight on me. But
Eh.
I'm doing good. I'm doing good.
Awesome. It's called Stories, Sports, and Songs with Bill. Tales and Tunes by a play-by-play lifer. I won't call you a legend because it makes you uncomfortable, but I will say it's the great Bill Schoening on with us tonight, who's got the book signing coming up at the Barn Door on Thursday, June the 2nd. From 4 to 6, it's happy, or 4 to 5:15, or whenever the hell you want to finish. I should just let you go all night if you want to with the great Bill. He'll sign his book and play tunes. And you're also a guy who has done tunes, which I want to get to in a minute. But you and I were talking, I think yesterday or this morning, and you'd mentioned the section Tubs of the book. Did you send me a
Cubs?
text message? Tubs, audiobook Tubs? What'd you send me?
Oh, Billy Tubbs. Yes,
Billy,
Billy
yeah.
Tubbs.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. And he was coaching TCU. You have connections
Right.
there in Fort
Yeah.
Worth, I do believe. Well, Billy Tubbs, of course, had been at Oklahoma. And then he went to TCU, and he had the great Kurt Thomas, who actually led the nation in rebounding and scoring the same year. They beat Texas in Fort Worth that year. Rematch in Austin is basically for the Southwest Conference regular season title. And
Yeah.
Texas takes care of them pretty good. It was like 111-99, but it was a big lead for Texas most of the game. And Billy didn't want to do any interviews or any media after the game. And his SID convinced him to go down to the room where the cameras were and all that. And he says, okay, I'm told I have to make a statement. And he sounded like Jack Nicholson, right? The actor.
Sure.
Remember, Billy Tubbs kind of sounded like Jack Nicholson. He goes,
Absolutely. With a
yeah,
southern
yeah.
accent. Yeah.
Yeah. I was told I need to make an opening statement. Here it is. We got our butt kicked. Now I'm going to take 3 questions. And this guy from the back of the room, one of the reporters, says, "How come only 3 questions?" And Billy Tubbs says, "Now we're
There's
down
one.
to 2 questions." Yeah.
So great. That's so badass. God, that's awesome. All right. Well, he's got to be one of the 5 goofiest guys you ever did a game who was coaching or involved in with, right? At least top
Oh
10.
man, I didn't tell the
But you've
story in
been
the
around
book,
so
but
long.
oh yeah, and of course when I was doing college ball, we were always on the floor. In the
Yeah.
NBA, when I first started, we were on the floor, and then of course they started selling those seats for so much money.
Oh,
A
yeah.
lot of the radio positions got moved upstairs, so you don't get that interaction like with what's going on, courtside,
Mhm.
quite as much.
Yeah. $15 for paperback too. $9 if you want to read a book on Kindle. I'm trying to get myself to. I'm gonna order your book. You sent me a copy, and I've
I
looked at
did.
some, but not a hardback copy. I'm old school when it comes to books, Bill.
Okay.
I like
All
to
right.
have the book in my. I'm gonna order
Um.
the thing. Don't send it to me. I'm gonna order it.
All
It's
right.
$15 for the paperback version. I mean, come on. That's nothing. You're not making any money on this. You're just doing this for the hell of it, right? You're doing this for
you know
funsies.
what? I wrote it, so it's like, it's fun. It's funny. And I had no idea how long it was going to be, Mike. I knew I had a lot of stories, and some aren't funny, some are kind of sad, and some are about different experiences I've had. But I just kept going because I had the time. And when I finally got it edited and got it in book format and put the pictures in, the editor said, "Hey, you got a 312-page book." So I said, I wrote War and Peace. God, so I've never even, I think the only book I've read over 300 pages is Born to Run, which is Springsteen's autobiography.
Wow.
And,
awesome.
And there's a Springsteen story. I can see Bruce not only on stage, but also just kind of hanging out with all, Miami Steve, who later became Little Steven, the actor who was, in The Sopranos. So the Bada Bing Club.
Silvio.
Silvio, Steve Van Zandt. Yep. Yeah. So I just recently saw him at the Paramount in Austin a couple years ago. He still has it, still rocking and rolling.
Awesome, man. I'm glad to talk. I don't want to keep you all night. I got to go to a movie anyway. I'm going to a movie theater for the first time in about 4 years here tonight.
Wow. What
to go see Top Gun Maverick.
I've been hearing good things about that film.
Me too. I loved it as a kid, the original when it came out. And when I first heard that they were going to redo the thing, I thought, okay, it's probably going to be pretty cheesy, super action, Jerry Bruckheimer. But I'm all in because I'm a Gen Xer. I loved Top Gun in '85 when it came out. But now it's like it's getting standing ovations at the Cannes Film Festival and this kind of thing. So I'm looking forward to it. But that being said, I don't want to keep you all night, man. I appreciate you coming on here. Very good, man. It's good. It's good to see you. Are you at the house up in far North Austin? Is that where you are today?
Yeah. We're in the Wells Branch area, which is just kind of west of Pflugerville. So
okay, far northwest.
It's
okay,
a good spot.
good.
We can hit Mopac M35. We can get
right on, man.
We can get in and out. Well, it's not always in and out anymore. It's kind of blown up here, as you know.
Absolutely. All right, man. Look, I appreciate it very much, and I want to do this though, real quick before you get out of here. And talk about your music scene too, because
cool, man.
Well, I had no idea you played music too, and now all of a sudden, and I find out you did, and I've heard a lot of your stuff, and I never have any idea what you're going to do next. So Lawrence says you've sent him a video,
right?
And it's you doing reggae in the video?
Okay, it's a joke.
Tell me about this video.
All right, Mike, you know how difficult it is sometimes in the NBA when you're a play-by-play guy with these foreign names, right?
Sure.
So
yeah.
So the Spurs played Fenerbahce Ulker in Istanbul, Turkey in 2014.
Yes.
So I got to learn these names, not just Turkish names, Serbian, Croatian, all kinds of names. So I said, how am I going to do that? So I wrote this little reggae beat to the names. Okay. So I sat on the song for 6 years. I just had this little guitar part. So now I took it to my producer, Nick. I said, hey man, can we make this a real full out reggae song? I want it to be the only reggae song ever written about a Turkish basketball team. He says, we can make that happen, man. We can make that happen. So he went crazy. He's got steel drums in there. He's got 32 tracks on the song, 32 tracks. Okay. I'm singing lead and backup.
Okay, so this is a video. Okay. Springsteen's going to like this one. There's Mike Vasquez.
There you go. This guy's a genius right here, Nick Whitworth. He can do anything. Sing along, Mike.
Mili Mamo Tokoglu. Is it Turkey Milias? Just to name a few. I can say that. Okay.
He's good too. This is the best way. I know.
This is putting in the prep work to get the names right. Tetten? Tetten.
Sammy Erden. Will it never end? Sava, Jan Vesle too.
That sounds made up.
Don't besmirch the good name of Jan Vesely. I was a huge Jan Vesely fan.
I'm sure. You probably have his jersey from high school. Right?
Number 6 overall pick to the Washington Wizards. Yes, 100%.
Yeah, way to Google. There he
no,
is.
actually, kind of knew that one because his girlfriend was hot as hell on draft night.
Oh, yeah.
That one stood out to me, yeah. It was either
Taylor
his
knows all
girlfriend
these
or his
guys.
mom.
Oh, yeah. Golly, that's so great. Here we go.
Okay.
Hey, Bielitsa
Okay.
in
Wow, man.
action
Awesome.
tonight.
Very good. Okay. So what's next in your musical career?
Okay.
I must know.
You know, it's weird. I just wrote this kind of sad song about my mom. I've been thinking about her. She's been gone for a long time, but
Okay.
I had this dream about her the other night. This was about a month ago, I guess. Anyway, so this melody came to me. She was dirt poor Irish from South Philly, and I just sat down and wrote the song. So I just went in the studio and recorded it. So you know, we're going to do a little compilation of different songs, but I'm always writing, Mike. Just it's a constant thing. It never stops.
Man, I envy that. I envy that very much. And I will tell you, I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna let you go. I've been in a shitty mood all week, Bill. Super shitty mood.
Oh man, well, I understand. I understand why. I do. I do, Mike.
But here's the thing: not only just having you on because I like you and I like when you do stuff like this, and I respect you a lot. But every time we chat, I am left in a decent mood when we get done chatting. You know, I appreciate the infectiousness that you get. That's positive. Every time we talk, everything's great. And I know you're not a robot, but I always feel better about everything. Like if I'm not like today, I've had a terrible, shitty 3 days, and all of a sudden having you on, I feel good. I feel like I shouldn't even be going to this movie. I shouldn't even be doing this show. But I'm happy that we did.
Yeah.
And now I feel stupid because of course we still should be doing shows and going to movies, man. So thank you. I appreciate it.
Well, I appreciate you buying the book, even though I was going to send you one, and I thought I sent you one online, but that's cool.
Let me buy it.
I know you're old school. Yeah, well, I got to sign it at some point, but
sure.
let me know when you're in the SA Austin area. We'll try to hook up.
I will.
Okay.
Okay, man. So what's the next? What's the next that's next on the travel itinerary? Where are you going?
It's the East Coast deal, man. The Philly, Jersey hangout. Yo, how you doing? How you doing? Good. I'm doing good.
Hey, it's a touch. Hey,
hey, Taylor, we got time for one more quick story. One more quick one.
Please.
Okay, all right. All right. This involves Philadelphia Eagles fans and Dallas Cowboys fans.
Oh, gosh. Okay.
Already interested.
All right. There is an Eagles bar in Austin. So on Sunday, it's the yo, how you doing, guys, hanging out there, right? They're wearing their green, they're drinking their beer. Hey, yo, how you doing? So there's an Eagles Cowboys game on a Sunday night a couple of years ago. Might have been pre-COVID. Right around that time. Anyway, so I go in and there's 2 Cowboys fans wearing their Cowboys gear at the Eagles deal, right? Okay,
brave.
And everybody's letting them go, you know, except the Cowboys start winning. And they start making a little noise, you know. So I said, you know what? I got to kind of put an end to this. So I went over. I introduced myself. They kind of knew who I was. I said, look, a couple of tables away. Don't look right now. I got 2 buddies of mine. They're over here. I know them pretty well, Guido and Vito. And they're not real happy with your current behavior at the Eagles party. And this one guy, I swear his name was Bubba. He goes, Guido and Vito? Like both of them? Man, the Cowboys won going away. I didn't hear a peep out of those guys the rest of the night.
You did them a favor. You absolutely did them a favor. Absolutely. That's great. Well, dude, thank you very much. I saw your son the other night, by the way. He's doing good. It was good to see him. Yeah, he's doing great, man. Thank you, Bill, very much. I appreciate it, sir. Thank you, man.
All right, and Mike, I always appreciate you helping out Carl and supporting him because you know he's a guy that he's got a bright future. He's putting it all together.
He absolutely is. And he taught me how to lose weight, and I lost a bunch of weight, and he gained too much back. So that's we were joking about that the other night. So he's got to get back where I am now.
Yes, he does.
Thank you, man.
All right, brother.
All right, there he is. Golly, the great Bill Schoening. I meant that, too. I'm not blowing smoke up his booty. Puma. Honestly, man, it's funny. It's funny how you process stuff. And you and I talked about, I do got to go soon because I've got a movie I got to go. I actually have a hard line. I got to get out of here, but
got a hard out.
Hard out. So I do have to get into sponsors too. So
he's like, no, your ass ain't going anywhere.
No, I'm not. That's fine. We're good. We're good.
That movie.
The other night, I talked about apathy and how I'm eaten up with it, and I sucks, and I don't want to be that way, and I'm not that hopeful for what lies ahead. I am resigned to the world that we all have to live in, and that's why we should keep doing shows and keep going to movies and stuff like that. But today it felt stupid to talk about. It just felt dumb. You know what happened? I started reading and looking. I opened up Twitter. I've been on vacation all week, and I fucked up and started reading.
Steph, it happened. That exact
and was
thing
immediately
happened.
pissed.
Yeah, that happened to Steph last night. She had been, she's on a business trip in Omaha, had completely been avoiding the news intentionally because she's focused on her week at the convention and making sure, the shit that she's paid to cover is running as flawlessly as possible, and just hadn't dove into any of the, details of the events. And then, last night I talked to her for 3 hours on the phone because she finally went down the wormhole and read everything. Yeah.
Yeah. And I almost didn't do this show tonight. I almost called you and said, I don't want to do it. Fuck it. Let's do it next week. But
that was me Tuesday.
But then you're giving up.
That was me Tuesday evening when we came in here. I told LG, I drove loop 1604 for half an hour. From the station to LG's house is less than 10 minutes. And I just kept driving.
Went on a long sports drive.
Yeah. Yeah, because it's like, what am I, like, I'm about to come play grab ass with my buddies for an hour and a half after the shit that happened today. Like, what the fuck? What are we doing?
Having Bill on that's Bill. And that's what I love about Bill. That guy you just saw, that goofball, that's him.
I told you the first time I actually met him, right?
Yeah, the restroom, right at the station.
Okay, yeah. You reference, him having to call some of the games out at the station on remote. Yeah. And, I was in the bathroom washing my hands, and, in walks behind me Bill Schoening, and he, does his business and then walks up to the wash receptacles, and, I'm washing my hands. I was like, hey, man, it's a pleasure to, finally meet you, blah, 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 all the small talk. And he immediately just jumps into, wow, you're really vigorous about your hand washing. You got right over left, and you switched and you interlock finger. And he's literally doing fucking play-by-play of me washing my hands. And I'm just like, oh my God, like, this is actually happening right now. Like, man. The great Bill Schoening, the legendary Bill Schoening, is doing play-by-play of me washing my hands. It's amazing.
We should get Bill to do like a bit where he just follows you around and does play-by-play for your everyday normal bits in life.
That would be kick-ass. I'm going to blow through our sponsors tonight, only because I didn't want to cut Bill off and do it. I love the guy, and Puma. I'm a cynical guy. I'm a fun guy. I think. But I'm cynical and stuff. I have fun with my cynicism. I'm humorously cynical. Does that make sense?
I like your cynicism.
Our show is built around
optimistic nihilism. Well,
our show is built around satire and bullshit, based around my shitty attitude. But I have fun with it, and I get that. But Bill's a guy that I like talking to him from time to time because he's good on perspective. Guys like him and Chris Duell. And it makes you want to get hammered, what I've read today, and just go get drunk. But I decided, no, screw it. I'm not going to get blasted at home. I'm going to go get blasted in public at a club after I go watch fucking Top Gun, because I'm not going to not live. What can I do? I'm going to live is what I'm going to do. All right. I've got a way for you to get drunk. I got a Father's Day gift is what I got. An idea for Father's Day. They're doing Father's Day bottle engraving at the original Texas Cheer Liquor on Potranco Road. It's 15118 Potranco Road, far west side out there on Potranco. It's a Father's Day bottle engraving. That's this Saturday from 5 to 8 p.m. So this Saturday from 5 to 8 p.m., Father's Day bottle engravings on Gentleman Jack, Woodford Reserve, Herradura Tequila, and Jack Daniel's Single Barrel. That's this Saturday from 5 to 8 p.m., a Father's Day bottle engraving at the Texas Cheer Liquor on Potranco Road. All right, boys. That's it. I'm trying to keep up with stuff. It's in some ways, I'm glad I was on vacation this week. In others, I thought, well, maybe had I not been on vacation, I think, I don't know what you and Andy have done all week in my stead on the radio show. It would have turned into Uvalde talk most of the time. I don't know how I would have been at the end of the week. I'm kind of glad I've been out because it gives an apathetic Gen Xer like me a chance to avoid it. But today,
I'm drained. I am emotionally
that's just
drained.
it. I'm sure you're just fucking drained, just done. Yeah. And I want to keep living, man. I don't want to. It kind of like with 9/11. It's like, well, if I quit flying and going to places, if I just quit living, then the fuckers win. I don't want to do that. And then I'm going against all that I think that I stand for when it comes to, being a Texan, and if you're going to do something, do it, and all that shit that I preach. I'm a hypocrite if all of a sudden I decide not to do this stuff, not to live. And I don't want to do that either. I want to get excited for like the Gamblers draft. I want to read about riders and bull riders. I want to keep doing shows. We're going to have, I think, the coach of the team on, I think, Tuesday, right, LG? Michael's coming on Tuesday with us.
Very nice.
I want to get excited. This is the Gamblers Live, I guess. I'm using them as an example. They just drafted a bunch of badass bull riders the other day in the inaugural PBR team series on Monday night. And the Gamblers, the official professional bull riding team of this show, drafted the Michael Jordan, basically, of this sport. The 25-year-old kid, the Brazilian badass Jose Vitor Leme. Dude's won 2 PBR World Championships already. He's 25 years old, and he's the best there is in the world, and they just drafted the dude. They drafted some Texans, too, a kid named Austin Richardson, kid from Dallas, 22-year-old badass. I guess you got to be young to have the balls to go into bull riding. You've never done that before, have you? Like, you've never, like, what's the most wild-ass thing you've ever done, Puma? When it comes to like animals and like riding, nothing like that, right? Rodeoing.
No, nothing.
And you're probably too damn tall to ride a damn bull. You look funny on one. Those kids are all little like me, all tiny.
Yeah, I was sized out of it pretty quick. I mean, the last, of course, riding horses, but not to the, not breaking in wild horses or anything like that. I mean, it's we used to always try to ride the, my grandparents' goats. We'd try to see who could last the longest on the back of the big billy goat that they had.
A little busting out there. A little mud busting, whatever they call it. Yeah, mutton busting, yeah.
Little brother always won that one just because he was significantly smaller. And he was also more determined to win, so he would just hang on to the horns.
The short guy? No way.
No way,
overly competitive.
Something you can't relate to, I'm sure. But yeah, no, he would just hold the damn thing's horns as it's dragging him across the pasture. But no, I had, there's been times where I've had to, stand in front of a charging, calf as we were trying to get it to go through the chute. And that, I saw my grandpa launched about 10, 12, 15 feet in the air one time by a bull. We were trying to get into a trailer to take it to the cell down in Meridian.
Mm-hmm. What ended that bull end up? Wrapped up in cellophane paper on somebody's table, probably.
Split between 4 families, correct.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you, San Antonio Jones. I appreciate that. The super chat. Thank you, homie. Appreciate that. So it's just, I don't know. I went down that hole today stupidly and regretted it immediately.
Not stupidly.
Okay.
Everyone needs to go down that hole.
I know, but I'm not apathetic. I'm also not an ignorant person either. And I'm only, my apathy lies in I don't think we're going to get anything done legislative wise. So I think it's a sociological problem that we have to fight together, knowing that we'll not ever get any help anytime soon from our leaders because we put shitty leaders in on both sides of the aisle. I guess that's my apathy lies in no trust whatsoever for our leaders to protect us. I live in a state where I'm from a state where they pretend to care about children. And so they're trying to pass discriminatory laws against transgender children and their families in the name of protecting children.
Did you do a
shit-ass job of protecting children every day? Case in point, Uvalde this week, where children were not protected. So
did you read that Texas Monthly article today that literally made that exact point? I mean, the last 12 months of saying, we need to protect kids from groomers in the classroom. And now all of a sudden it's like, no, they're not groomers. They're our last line of defense. And we need to arm them and make them be responsible for protecting their classroom. Yeah, it was a lot of pointing out exactly what you said. This war that's been waged over the last year to protect our children has been absolutely comically done to an extent that you can't even call it protecting the children when literally the events of what we see this week show the hypocrisy of it.
And it doesn't matter what anyone's opinion is on high-powered assault rifles or whether they should be off the street. The point is that clearly Greg Abbott, Dan Patrick, and his people are the most full of shit leaders at the top in Austin, certainly of my lifetime, and that includes Republicans and Democrats. They're clearly full of shit. Every fucking thing they do is about getting reelected and maintaining the power that they have, and they'll shit on anything they really agree with. Greg Abbott may not even agree with many of his own policies in his head, but he does to maintain the power. And so no matter what the topic is, he's already proven that he's full of shit and all that he believes with all the other things that he has done in the years he's been in office. Yet he'll get reelected, and I'll get bad emails over that statement. But he's clearly full of shit because you don't give a fuck about protecting kids. We don't give one shit about protecting kids.
It's not even that he's full of shit. It's that he doesn't fucking care.
No, he literally
doesn't care. He does a press conference. He does a press conference the day it happened from Austin. And instead of traveling to Uvalde immediately that night to meet with the families, to meet with the local law enforcement, to do cry whatever fucking crocodile tears he wants to cry, instead he goes to a fucking fundraiser in East Texas to raise money for his reelection, and then goes to Uvalde, and then has the gall to say that Beto is just doing it for political theater. You're goddamn right he is. That's what politics is. It's fucking theater. It's theater to express what we want done through policy. That's the definition of politics.
Yeah.
Literally.
And what Greg Abbott does is not what we want. It's what he wants done, because he's going to run for president in 2 years or whatever it is, I guess. I don't know.
Sure.
Yeah.
It's infuriating and it's draining, man. This is why I avoided to avoid. It's not a call of one party against the other. It's a call of just literally pointing out the guy we elected governor chose to go to a fundraiser instead of going to the site of a fucking mass shooting at an elementary school. That's the person we elected in this state. That's on us.
We're reelected in
November. It's not on Greg Abbott. It's on us. It's on the state of Texas for electing that ass bag.
Sure, absolutely. You don't like Mike Taylor's radio show? Well, y'all sure don't act like it. The ratings and money that we make, but I don't see. This is why I didn't do this. This is why I'm tired of it. I'm fucking tired of it. Santa Fe was 35 miles from my ex-mother-in-law's home. Sutherland Springs is 35 miles from my home at the time. No one gives a fuck. It's over in a week. We're on to the next thing. Who cares? We don't care.
Correct.
Which is why we are shitty. We don't vote. We vote for dumbasses.
Yep.
And we don't. This is what leads to my apathy, because it'll lead to me being drained, just like you are, with nothing to show for. Which is why I want to just keep living and have a good time. Like, these are the stories I got yesterday. We're getting ready to have a Thunderdome night at the Missions game on June 16th. It's a Thursday night. It's $2 beer night, $2 dog night. It's a flying chanclas night. And my buddy Michael at the Miracle League of San Antonio, that we support very much.
Good dude.
I emceed the gala this year. Good dude. He's like, when's your Missions night? When's your Thunderdome night at the Missions? I go, it's Thursday the 16th. So the guy bought 75 tickets to sit in our section. Good and he's going to bring, these are all members of families, and these are kids that play in the Miracle League. So a bunch of kids that are players in the Miracle League. It's a baseball league for special needs kids. A bunch of those kids and their families will be coming out sitting in our section. Mike bought 75 tickets to our Thunderdome night. Stuff like that is why I'm going to keep living. You know, stuff like that's why I'm going to keep going to movies and stuff and still living and not, it's not that I don't care. I'm just not hopeful anymore. That's where I'm at. And I can't lie to y'all. I am going to keep living, but I'm not hopeful while doing it for these kinds of things to get fixed because I don't think it, because I think we're just, all we do is put people in that don't care. And I don't have any faith in that. I don't have any faith in our society to put the right people in office. Although who can even run for office anymore? Pawns of corporations, millionaires.
Well, and that's where I don't.
You and I can't run for office. I don't have the money.
Well, I mean, you're right. I don't disagree, and I don't disagree with your acceptance of how we handle events like this. Because what is Columbine 1999? What changed? Sandy Hook. What changed? Parkland.
What changes? It happens more and more often.
El Paso, Buffalo, Orlando, Sacramento. What changed? Nothing. Like I can completely understand your acceptance of the fact that nothing will be done, but just for me personally, if I finally accept that, that's too much of a bitter pill to just accept, because it's like I can't just release that anger or the rage or the despair or like all of that in one cocktail. I can't accept reality is what it is. Because what you're saying, what you're describing is tethered in historical evidence that supports this is the reality we now live in. And that it's the equivalent. It would be like I'm the kid in Ukraine that just wants to keep going to school and acting like there's not a war happening around me. Like I want to act like what you're saying is not the honest, true reality of the situation we're in, because what you're describing is more based in reality than the, pleas for help that my mind instantly runs to. But what you say is not apathy. It's a narrative. It's a description of the reality we face day to day. You're 100% accurate, and that's the scoreboard is what hard for me to accept.
I understand. You mentioned Columbine. That's half my lifetime ago. I'll be 48 in November. I was 24 years old in 1999. I'll be 48 in November. It's half my lifetime ago. And I'm not 12. So it wasn't 6 years ago. It was over 20 years ago. It's who we are. It's what we do. And I don't think it's going to change. We just have to. I still think that the odds of your child being killed. I
entered high school the year after Columbine.
But I also don't want to hear this. And I said this the other night where, I'm leaving. I'll never live in Texas. I hate Texas. I don't live in Texas for other reasons, but there are 35 million people in that state. The odds of your kid being killed at school are still 1 in a million. The odds of your kids being killed in a car wreck are,
go full economist. Don't go economist on this and express like, well, it's actually you're more likely to die from a lightning strike. So
well, you are, but you are,
right.
You are.
But it's also
the point is, I'm going to keep living.
We can't
I'm going to keep going to the movies. I'm going to keep going to the movies.
And
I don't think we control this.
We need to do that. Yeah, we can. There's absolutely statistical evidence. There are things we like. What have we done? What have we done to try? Show me the examples of things that have failed. We just haven't tried anything.
We has no impact. This guy votes, but that's all. That's the only we that I can even. I vote, so I guess it makes me. But there's no we here. I have no control on this. None. I can't make any impact.
I hear that,
would have been made
but you also have a massive fucking outlet and platform that allows you to speak on the necessary changes that you think might help situations to prevent events like this. Like, I think.
Well, and I'm up to my ass in alligators over the anti-transgender movement.
the phrase, hey, I'm up to my ass in alligators here. Like, I got my own shit.
Battling. I mean, Texas is
wrong.
sick.
You're not
Texas
wrong.
has a lot of illnesses these days, and I'm fighting one of them like
America
hell.
has a lot of illnesses.
Sure.
Texas
Society
has.
does. Yeah, America does.
Right. Like, and that's where I say it's not like the answer is not, well, you want gun control, move to Norway or Australia or New Zealand. Like, no, like I don't want to leave Texas. I don't want to leave America. I kind of want us to actually maybe attempt to try things that might fail, but might work in the smallest amount, which is progress. I mean,
I've got to go soon. And I was talking to my girlfriend about you today. She admires what you said the other night with regards to, I just want to fucking try anything, even if I don't agree. You want to ban video games? If you think that'll help, let's do it.
Let me say, hang on.
It's fine.
It's like, let's trade.
Whatever. I know. The desperation that was in your voice the other night touched me.
That's what it is. It's desperation. That's it.
Yeah. It's sad. It's ridiculous. There's a desperation because it happened to us. This is not any different desperation as those rich white people in Connecticut. How many ever years ago that was? They had the same desperation all those fucking years ago. We feel that desperation because it happened down the street. They felt the same goddamn desperation in Santa Fe, Texas 4 or 5 years ago, whenever the fuck that was. So I'm going to keep living. I'm going to keep hoping. I'm not going to give up hope, but I'm going to be resigned to how things are. And it sucks. The desperation in your voice, though, it was touching. And you and I said here, we're going to vent, we're going to bitch, and, Greg Abbott's going to get reelected, and we're going to keep on doing radio shows and doing what we do. And hopefully the wheels of justice will turn in 20 or 30 years. But I got to raise 10-year-olds today. I got to do radio shows today. I got to pay bills today. And I got to do it knowing that the world's got a bunch of fucked up things in it, but it also has a bunch of love in it too. And find a way to sleep and not get so wrapped up in this kind of shit. I did think, I'm to a point in my life where I got to vote for dorkwads like Beto O'Rourke. I'm not a fan. I did love how see how Greg Abbott got all nervous when he walked in there. You see Greg Abbott started No, not Dan Patrick. Dan Patrick's like, get out of here. But Abbott puts his head down and wouldn't look at him. He's shuffling papers. What do you do? You're not looking at papers.
Fucking coward.
Fucking punk ass coward, pussy, bitch ass hoe. That's what he is. I don't give a fuck I don't give a fuck what letters to the left of his name. He's a punk ass fuck up. He's a pussy ass bitch ass hoe.
That's it.
Whose wife hadn't had a decent orgasm in 40 years.
He gets elected because of the letter next to his name and not the accomplishments he's achieved in his life. I mean,
that's all that matters. I know.
But hey, those East Texas Republicans got to hear him talk on Tuesday night, and I'm sure he raised thousands of dollars to go to defeating Beto. And
he will. He didn't need that money to defeat Beto, by the way. I would argue you don't need to go down there and do what you should be doing and go to Uvalde and represent the state because you don't need that East Texas money. You're going to win anyway. You're going to win.
Yeah, but that's money that can be carried over for the next campaign at the federal level. It's all it is theater. And to call out Beto for crashing that press conference, but not call out our fucking governor for going to a fundraiser the night of the shooting.
Well,
who's playing politics?
I would vote for a guy or a girl whose policies I disagreed with 90% of, if it meant that a policy that means the most to me in society did get passed. That makes sense?
Well, that's why Abbott gets elected. And
but they don't care. But no, they care. They agree with 90% of his policies, and they vote for him.
No, I would argue the other way. If there are absolutely socially liberal to moderate Republican Texans that vote for Abbott purely based on the fiscal and energy side of the argument and overlook.
Okay, that's fair. But
Republicans
what I'm saying is
that don't believe.
I would vote for the devil
attacks.
if he'd let I'd vote for the devil himself if he'd get these policies off the books, because it affects me and where I live and my kid and my kids.
And that's politics.
Mentality.
That's literally
That's
the definition of politics, is voting for someone based on your individual interest. That's
right.
Like, there's
in
nothing
the interest
wrong
of
with
Texas, the interest of most Texans, our kids are not most important on their. It's not on their most important.
Oil and natural gas is more important than the protection of elementary school students.
This is true.
That's a fact.
And that's fine. That's true.
Fact
that's how it is.
Proven by our election results. That's a
correct,
fact.
Sam. Thus my apathy. You know, this is more. It's just that's simply who we are as a state right now. It's who we are. It's what.
But
we
why?
do.
But so when. If you're going to take I know you got to go, but I don't want you to be late for Top Gun as much as I joke. And that's an irony of me. Of you want to call me some fucking woke libtard. I also love jets, and I
so
love
don't make me late.
Military technology. Like I know I'm a hypocrite as well in certain manners.
No, you're not.
No, it's the. If you're going to accept that this is just the way things are now, how are you going to react when we finally are able to get people in the office that will correctly represent the desires of their constituents? Are you going to celebrate that, or are you then going to be, well, it'll change. He's going to get voted out as soon as he starts doing shit that people don't agree with, even though it's good, and he'll be gone, and then we'll be back into that old cycle. That just narrative, there can't be perpetual evil without being some recycling of common sense. So like that's where I sit here and I agree with everything you say about the current state of where we are and where our leaders will not listen to the voice of majority of Texans, majority of their constituents, but will instead listen to the voice of the dollar bills they're receiving from corporate interest. But when that does finally change, because I believe it will eventually, just looking, Texas was Democrat not that long ago. It's been a while, but it's not like, it was still my lifetime, and I'm only 36. So like it will swing back. And if you're not doing everything you can to get the idiots we have currently out, I don't want to hear any amount of celebration or, praise when we actually do get someone in there that's going to listen to us and listen to what we want and do the things that are broadly supported by majority of Texans. That's the part of the... It's not apathy, it's indifference. It's just sheer, I've accepted this reality and I'm indifferent to it. That's the thing that drives me most insane, because I want to believe even my most Republican, far right leaning relatives, I can have a conversation with them and say, Why can an 18-year-old buy an AR-15 and not a Budweiser? Don't you think that's kind of crazy? And we can at least have that conversation.
I don't think that's kind of crazy.
Majority of Texans do think that's kind of crazy. Polling suggests...
The election results do not suggest.
And that's my whole point. That's my whole point, is when you look at the actual... Majority of Texans do not support the fact that an 18-year-old can buy an AR-15. When Abbott passed that bill a year and a half ago, it was not broadly supported by Texans. He did that because it means more gun sales for the NRA. It's that simple. Polling showed Texans did not support it. But that's my whole point. They don't support that issue, but then they'll still support him because he has the letter next to his name on the ballot. Or you're just voting straight ticket. Eventually, there's going to be enough of us that say, I don't care if you're going to give me tax breaks. I don't care if you're going to fund oil and natural gas. I don't care if you're going to keep trans kids from playing high school athletics. You're not doing enough to solve the national epidemic of gun violence. Eventually, I have to believe there is a point where majority of Texans that poll one way finally hold their elected officials accountable. I have to believe that, because if I don't, then you're right. Why am I doing a radio show Monday through Friday? Why are we doing a YouTube show? Why am I not just literally selling all my possessions and living as a beach bum on the third coast? Because none of this shit fucking matters. So why am I not just doing what I can do?
Because we can talk Warriors and Mavs, I guess, and not talk about this stuff. All right, I've got to do live spots. I'm sorry, Janet. It is what it is. R&R, we love you hard. They don't care who you vote for. They just want to fix your glass. I don't care what the letter is on the left-hand side either. I really, really don't. And they don't care what it is either. They just want to fix your glass, whether it's the windshield, the back windows, the sunroof. They'll fix it quick. They'll give you a discount when you mention, liberal heathen Taylor. They'll give you a Taylor Especial when you go in there and get your windows fixed at R&R right there by the airport at 281 in Tacoma. Show is also supported by my boy George at JM Pool and Spa. Thank you so much to JM Pool and Spa, the official pool and spa people of Thunderdome and Mike Taylor Live. Over 25 years experience in the pool industry. They fix them. George is also the president of the San Antonio chapter of the Independent Pool Spa Service Association. They go to great lengths to donate charity money to kids that need it in our state and in our area. And they also fix your pool good. It's JM Pool and Spa. Thank you guys very much. I am going to go see Top Gun Maverick, because you can support the United States military and their badass propaganda movies and think they're kick-ass and still want to do what you can do to protect children. You can still wear a fucking American Eagle on your shirt or wear a United States flag on your shirt and support America, but also wish we did something more to keep kids safe. You could do both. It is possible. I don't trust the straight ticket voter. I've been very clear on this. I don't care if you're a Republican or a Democrat. I just wish we'd start putting things that are more important than money ahead of things that are more important, and until we do that, I guess it's indifference. I hate to use that word because it means I don't care. I do care. I've just given up. I've given up. And Puma's mad at me. It's okay.
You've accepted reality. That's not giving up. That's not even giving up.
That's
just accepting the unfortunate reality we find ourselves in.
What's the average life expectancy of the American man? 75 years?
Something like 76 years? Yeah.
Okay, so I've got a good 20 years to live. I can't live that being pissed off because they won't protect kids in schools. I got to hope and pray that my kids don't get shot at their school, and keep doing radio shows and trying to stay in a good mood, take my girlfriend to see Top Gun here in a minute, and keep on living while caring. But I'm out of words. I'm just completely out of words. And frankly, who gives a fuck? Our words none of our words matter anyway. That's the other thing
that's untrue. That's untrue. The platform you've created. I hope you're right. I hope you're right. The platform you've created over 14 years absolutely matters. Absolutely means that you have become a trusted source in times of turmoil within our society, within our local community.
Well, call me Walter Cronkite, because I don't think the situation in Vietnam was tenable.
I mean, you're not Cronkite level important. Let's not get crazy.
You said I had a voice.
Yeah, you have a voice. It's just much meeker than Cronkite.
I didn't mean literally. But, I'm sorry, Thunderdome. I've lost hope.
And I don't think that's anything to be ashamed of, because that doesn't speak on your ineptitude. It speaks on the failures of our leaders.
Correct. Yeah, I didn't do this.
Correct.
They did. Y'all did. We did. Our society. I voted in the state of Texas last go around. I plan on doing it again through the mail, and it is what it is.
Yeah, make fun of Beto for not going by Robert and keep voting for people that aren't going to fucking do shit about anything except corporate money from the NRA. The same NRA that's holding their massive conference in Houston, in Texas this week, where it's a gun-free zone and guns aren't allowed. The same people that tell you more guns make people more safe. The same people that tell you a country that has the most guns of any fucking country on the face of the 4.5%, we have 42% of the guns, but we're not the safest country on earth, even though they continue to tell us more guns make people more safe. An event where literally they will idolize guns and gun ownership all weekend in Houston while not allowing a single gun inside the event because they know the potential catastrophe and the fucking ability to take lives that the guns that they promote at said event could cause at said event. It's...
I'm gonna go watch Top Gun now.
Enjoy it. Have fun. And think about what one F-14 would fund in terms of social welfare and...
Well, they are about $80 million.
They are.
Probably never fire a weapon in
awesome.
the history of it.
And they're fucking badass.
Awesome. They're badass.
And they're a massive accomplishment for American exceptionalism. And you can applaud them while also saying... we need to do something about our own epidemic within our own society.
Yeah, we can help everybody. We can
There's
still have
money
badass jets. Sure,
Correct.
we can have badass jets and still help kids.
It's not black and white. It's not one or the other.
No, it's not. It's not. So,
but if they make it where all of us commoners are just fighting about black and white, then they get away with all the gray shit that they can do.
Therein lies the genius of them.
It's pretty fucking genius.
Pretty genius. All right, y'all, I'm done. I'm going to go watch a movie in public at a theater, and I will talk about Top Gun when I get back on the radio show next week. I might even talk about some on Mike Taylor Live. Thank you to Bill Schoening. It was nice to have him on. He was making me feel good about things, and Puma made me feel bad about things. It's okay.
You're welcome.
Go do some drinking, Holmes. Drive safe.
It's been a hard week without Steph here.
When's she back?
And without you here, to be honest.
When's Stephanie back?
Tomorrow night.
Love you, man.
Love you too, homie.
All right. I don't even have any words for people because we're in the Uvalde viewership zone, you know. I don't have words. I'm going to go watch a movie and get hammered. Love you all hard. I'll see you Tuesday. That's it.
Come back, you puppy!
Mike Taylor Live is presented by Texas Cheer Liquor.